We'll call this meeting to order, and we will, first off, Lisa, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can. Thanks, Austin.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Great. Thank you. All right. We will do a call to order. We'll do roll call, please.
Kevin Alltucker,
Here.
Denise Diamond, here. Austin Fulnagi,
Here.
Mike Eister,
Here.
Lisa Fragola,
Here.
Steve Mattel,
Here.
Zach Mulholland.
Here. Excellent. All present. Excellent. We'll move on to the land recognition. We've been having several conversations outside of the board meetings and how we can enhance the land recognition and look for ways to broaden it and expand it. We have heard, though, that to continue to use the land recognition until we can look at ways to expand it and to provide the honor to it. So with that, we will go ahead and start the land acknowledgement with Wendy Simmons.
Yeah,
Wendy.
hi. Thank you. Good evening, President Bolger and board members. And I'm Wendy Simmons and I teach in the physical education department. We acknowledge that the land on which Lane Community College is built is the traditional land of the Kalapuya people. I ask you to join me in acknowledging Indigenous communities, their elders, both past and present, as well as future generations. We also acknowledge that our institutions were founded upon genocide, erasures, and exclusions of many Indigenous peoples, including those on whose land our institutions are located. Our institutions must acknowledge and make visible the ongoing effects of systemic oppression and intergenerational trauma that affects all of us. This acknowledgement demonstrates a commitment to beginning the process of working to dismantle the ongoing legacies of settler colonialism and begin a process of restorative justice. 2 to 3 board meetings ago, when my colleague Avery Old Coyote gave the land acknowledgement here and shared his thoughts about it, it made a lasting impression on me. As a reminder, he said that it's okay to do the land acknowledgement as a first step, but that we need to be doing much more. He reminded us that it wasn't just the land that was taken, but for example, the language, the laws, and the love were taken. We must acknowledge that too. I am committing to do more to support Indigenous peoples by better educating myself about Indigenous cultures and supporting Indigenous rights public policy. Thank you.
Thank you. Greatly appreciate those words. We'll move on to the adoption of the agenda. And I just confirmed, actually, we don't necessarily need a roll call vote for this. We can actually just without objection. So can we adopt the agenda without objection?
So moved.
So moved. Excellent. The agenda is adopted. Next, we're moving on to responses for information requests. Any comments or questions in regards to this topic? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to public comment. Once again, with public comment, we are keeping each speaker to about 3 minutes. The board may not respond directly to any issues raised, but will refer those issues to the president for appropriate action. I know that sometimes we are really passionate about the topics brought up in public comment, and it's natural to want to applaud that, clapping, but if we can refrain just by using the ASL clap, that would help us move the public comments along. And also, again, our students are watching us. So let us keep a decorum in these meetings. We'll go ahead and start as we did last time with the students so that they could participate in public comment. Go ahead.
The students are Abigail Villegas, Cristal Leal Coronel, and Sofia Villegas.
Are they present? Yep, excellent. Great.
Go ahead.
You can go ahead and come up.
Good evening, President Bolger, Board of Education, and everyone willing to hear me out tonight. My name is Cristal Leal Coronel. I'm a first generation and a current student at LCC. I'm here tonight despite having assignments due tomorrow, working all week and taking care of my family to support the counselors and their positions. I have concerns that many people are not made aware that this meeting is currently taking place or find out at such short notice. I would appreciate it if there was a notice sent out to students in advance. Leslie is one of the few lanes serving to a growing population of Spanish speakers. As a Spanish speaker herself, The enrollment has increased by 10% this term, and there is an increase of diversity within the newer generation. Many of us are claiming back our roots and language. We need to see more diverse representation on campus. There are many first-generation students, specifically bilingual and students of color, who feel they may not have the opportunity to explore their options and interests for their future careers, as there is the pressure of being the first to make an example of success. I've been fortunate enough to establish relationships with some of the career counselors who helped me within my personal and professional life. English is my second language, and there are often times where I have trouble communicating without the use of Spanish, and I know there are plenty of others who feel the same way. The Health and Wellness Center does provide amazing services and resources, but as a bilingual and person of color, I tend to seek out counselors that share a similar background, and there are only so few that can be hard to feel understood without explaining or feeling as though I need to excuse myself. I cannot stress enough how important it is to have these specific counselors at the Career Center and department continue to be a resource out to all students and incoming lane students. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker.
Abigail Villegas? No? Okay. Sophia Villegas?
Hello, Board of Education and President Bolger. My name is Sophia Villegas. I am a first-generation Mexican American, first-generation college student, and I am expecting to attend my first term at Lane during winter. Today, I would like to express my concerns about my academic future. Recently, I've been informed that the Board of Education will be letting go 3 career counselors. This is a problem. Once I attend this community college, I expect to see some faculty, advisors, and professors that have a similar background as me. I trust that the faculty will support me throughout my time at Lane, even though my hope will come to an end when the faculty members I've met are no longer at LCC. Before I was enrolled in spring 2023, I was still involved and attended events on campus because Lane would be the place I'd further extend my development to become a better student. I plan on taking a course called College Success that is taught by career counselor Leslie Soriano Cervantes. I have heard that she teaches students how to become independent academically and personally. She also educates how to be successful, how to be a successful student in college, and she shows a welcoming environment, especially to bilingual speakers. Faculty members of color, just like her, if they are not here, I will not have the opportunity to build a stronger educational foundation with Leslie and the Career Counseling Center. If you, the Board of Education, keep taking these members of this public college, you will feed my fear of losing my educational support, worries of if attending college wasn't the right decision, and loss of my undeveloped better future. You can still turn this around. Keep the career counseling services for incoming and future students just like me. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll try again.
Yeah, try one more time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Abigail Villegas?
Oh, excellent. Welcome, Abigail.
Good evening, Board of Education and President Bolger. I, Abigail Villegas, will restating the impact that the Career Counseling Center has had on me. First, however, I would like to mention again that I am a first-generation student, a second-year student at LCC, and an advocate for higher education and equality for all minorities. The Career Counseling Center is currently located within the Counseling Center in Building 1, Room 103. Building 1 is known as the Welcome Center. Students come in with questions and should be leaving with answers. I have used the service to understand myself better and have received a clearer image of what my career path will look like and entail. I would like to make it known that on the career counseling page on the Lane website, it is mentioned that career counselors provide more than just finding a career path. For example, clarifying interests, strengths, and skills, explore majors, occupations, and career fields, lessen the confusion and fears about career decision-making, identify potential barriers, overcome obstacles, develop a vision for their future, the next steps, and connect with the campus and community services or resources, and develop a plan. This is a standard service for current students and new students like my sister. She will be attending Lane soon, and I am guaranteeing and paving a path where she will have an easier first year than I did. I also have high expectations that she will have easy access to all the resources and the support that she needs. I've gone above and beyond to know the resources on campus so I can share with her, current students, and new students. Especially when I have seen an increase in people of color students this term. Myself, and I'm sure many other students, expect to see POC faculty and those that are bilingual as a norm at Lane. Career counseling is one that I recommend to all, so do not dispose of the service and the counselors. As a student, you hear me. My voice matters, but with your decision, students' futures are in your hands. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pedro Torres on that. Okay. Pedro Torres.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Yes. Hello, my name is Pedro Torres. This is my first term here at Lane, and I am the first generation student in this country. And I've been working with career counselor with Leslie Soriano because when I first came to Lane, I was undecided of not knowing what to study. Working with a bilingual course helped me understand the resources better and how Lane works. She connected me with academic advisors so I can be properly guided. On my major, being connected with somebody who speaks my language and also share the same culture has helped me feel understood and makes my transition from high school to Lane easier for me. I think that Lane is like about bringing the community together, and me as a Hispanic student should have the resources and career counselor that understand our struggle as an immigrant student. I would like to have the career counselor in the future just in case I have a struggle again. Thank you so much for time.
Absolutely. Thank you. Next speaker.
Leslie Soriano, followed by Donna Jones.
That was all the students. Excellent.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for your time. My name is Leslie Soriano Cervantes, and I'm passing out also a letter of support from a student and another staff member from the college. Good evening, everyone. Since I last spoke and stood in front of you, I would like to share some of the work interactions I have had this week. What I share with you today typifies in a synopsis 23 plus years of serving students in collegiality with my peers and college leadership. This term, I have worked extensively in the classroom teaching college success to 34 students. The course is designed to lead students to their career path. The skills they learn puts them in a journey to their ultimate career and academic goals by learning how to communicate effectively cross-culturally, planning for their careers and future, discovering their learning styles, and navigating complex systems and organizations. These skills set the students up for the workforce. Here are some examples of my expertise as a bilingual, bicultural career counselor as I help students. Because of my ability to relate to a diverse group of people, this example exemplifies what it is to be a holistic and well-rounded professional that grasps the nuances of serving students and families in an inclusive process. A bilingual student and their family look lost and helpless in the lobby. I immediately recognized the look because I once was that student. As a career counselor, I have seen that look in countless others. I immediately went up to the family. I approached a student and greeted the parents with a warm "Buenos días y bienvenidos a Lane." Good morning and welcome to Lane. The look of relief on mom and dad's faces immediately told me I was going to be able to assist them in solving the LCC riddle. Per the student's request in English, I helped communicate to their parents in Spanish. I provided the student career counseling and gave the student precise instructions, referrals to campus resources, and a warm handoff. Simultaneously, my communication to the parents was in Spanish, and that helped them understand and demystify the U.S. educational system. Upon leaving my office, the student was grateful that they had someone that could help their parents understand the pressures a college student faces. Mom and dad were pressuring the student to take on more than they knew they were capable of. The parents wanted the student to take 18 credits. When the family left my office, they expressed deep gratitude for the time we shared and invested in building a relationship. All critical elements in being culturally and linguistically fluent.
Thank you.
And Donna will finish.
My name is Donna Jones, and I will be finishing Leslie Soriano's statement. My second example is a student who is currently enrolled in my college success class. This student came lost and confused about a clear career and academic path. I utilized my training, emotional intelligence, and empathy to settle the student down, provide options for career and academic exploration, and provided multiple pathways to achieve their ultimate goal. After we finished our appointment, the student left in a much better place than when they came in. They expressed excitement in exploring their future and learning about themselves at LCC resources, such as cooperative education, that they will be connected to during the time at Lane. What I have just shared is the tip of the iceberg of my career at LCC. These interactions that I share make the college a welcoming and inclusive environment where students feel like they belong, and it gives them dignity. Please, as I said last week, we need more career counselors with my unique skill set, not fewer, to help students get on their career pathway to be successful in the classroom and the workforce. Do not dismiss these real-life examples as anecdotal, because they're not. I invite any one of you to come sit with me and learn of the experiences and challenges the students I have served have overcome. Or if you would like to, you're free to attend my class or any other classes my colleagues teach, because we are exceptional. Our skills are essential and very, very difficult to replace, if at all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Anthony Hampton, followed by Jessica Alvarado.
Before I start, I have something to hand out.
Excellent.
Once again, I want to give really praise for our students' voice. Exceptional, really fantastic. So thank you for that. I also want to express my gratitude for postponing a vote on the budget proposal. That's what I was hoping for. That's what I asked, and that's what I've been graced with. And I know that there's discussions that are going on. I appreciate the willingness to explore and discuss options that truly benefit our students, the ones that are here, the ones that are not here just yet, and those that perhaps might return. Also, that benefits our college as a whole and our community. The document that I passed out, the handout, really is to give a summary of what the last week and a half look like in terms of the services that we provide to our students. And I don't want to take for granted that everybody understands who we are and what we do. It would be presumptuous for me to know exactly what you do in your given day, right? I just can't make those assumptions. And so I thought it's important for you to have a sense of the students that we saw this week and how we serve them. I highlighted a number of these bullets, and to be honest with you, I'm not going to read them, because you know why? Because every one of them is significant. And if I were to highlight one or more, it might diminish the others, and I don't want to do that. So I would encourage you to look through the list of how we served and who we served. Many of our students that we saw this week were first-term students, perhaps returning students. They've been away for a while. Some of them were non-traditional. Some of them come from very diverse backgrounds. And I think when you look through this list, you'll see who we saw and what we did. These are all examples of students that we served. Retention, and I know retention is it really is a responsibility of all. So I don't want to proclaim that I have ownership to that or that we have ownership to that. That's something that we have collectively. However, saying that, I think we do offer an expertise and understanding of those practices and what it looks like and how to actually make that happen actionably. We also are career counselors, and we have seen so many students this week who really are uncertain about their path. And with the Lane Resource Fair that we had just the other day, myself and my colleagues spoke to
Finish your thought.
had individual conversations with 53 students trying to make some important life decisions. And we feel that we're a vital part of that process. We'd like to continue doing that work. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
To the Board of Education, members of the cabinet, and President Bolger. I'm Jessica Alvarado. I'm one of the faculty counselors. This is regarding the proposed removal of 3 faculty members from student affairs. I'm here to share with you some clarifying perspectives related to strategic plans, summer work, orientations, and staffing. This is in response to an executive team member's answer to the following question provided in the 9/27 information packet. The question was, how will these cuts negatively affect students or the institution? Specifically, will the loss of retention, and I said, and career counselors hurt the college's ability to retain students? My answer is yes. The students we serve as faculty instructors and faculty counselors do not have options on campus to seek services with people who share our unique educational and personal backgrounds. One has a history as a professional athlete and has worked with Lane athletes for years. I'm a Lane nursing program graduate and have worked with health profession students in their journeys to prepare for, progress, and complete their desired goals. Our third counselor is bilingual and bicultural and is sought out by students and families for this reason, as you can see. So I've outlined my response to strategic plans, summer work, and orientations on onboarding. Those were concerns mentioned, and I will not read them to you out loud, but I'll let you read them on your own. These represent our experience with those topics. Another one is about student affairs faculty reductions. I had a different point of view than what was provided in the information packet. I want you to know we welcome and have always welcomed the opportunity to contribute to Lane's strategic plans, orientations, and summer support if this is needed. We've worked in agreement with managers, past and present, to provide work in the summer. There are some reasons that we weren't available, and I think it's mentioned here. The 3 faculty counselors being considered for reassignment retrenchment have consistently honored the faculty contract and fulfilled our responsibilities as assigned. We've always prioritized serving our students, supporting their well-being, and this institution as a whole. We wish to continue to teach and to provide career counseling services to help students become more clear about their academic and career goals, more committed to their academic efforts, and more engaged in the campus community. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. We hope to be a part of the solution that moves the college in the direction of meeting the needs of our students. And I also want to thank everyone for supporting collaboration and also for engaging in conversations to look for solutions. So I do appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jerry Meenigan, followed by Kevin Steves.
Good evening, President Bolger, Chair Fulnegi, and members of the Board of Education. My name is Jerry Meenihan, and I'm a faculty member and cooperative education coordinator at LCC. I'm also the incoming first-year co-chair of the Faculty Council. I'm here this evening to again summarize and reiterate the Faculty Council's position on shared governance. I say again because the Faculty Council Task Force on Shared Governance drafted a thorough, detailed letter that was presented to the Board of Education on May 2nd of this year. Due to a change in the board's membership last July, Faculty Council recently resent this letter to all members of the board on September 22nd. The letter offers a very comprehensive history of shared governance, a discussion of the current crisis in interpretation of decision-making authority, and a request for action from the board. I trust that you've read it and ask that you act on the Faculty Council's request therein to investigate the misinterpretation and misrepresentation of the board's policies involving the basic governance structure of our college. We hope that the board will direct the college administration to fully adhere to Board Policy 325 and to the college's governance system manual, and to adhere to the system of shared governance as a true decision-making process as designed. When President Bolger revealed her institutional priorities of enrollment, fiscal sustainability, and campus culture, I was initially very impressed and excited at their accuracy in terms of urgency and need. While we appear to be making excellent strides with enrollment this fall and are at least endeavoring to attain fiscal sustainability, I cannot grasp how the president feels that the stance that shared governance provides mere recommendations so that she can make the ultimate decision would improve campus culture. According to a survey of all faculty conducted last spring by the LCCEA, 71% of 248 respondents rated maintaining the role of shared governance in decision-making as their highest priority. Another 13% responded that it was a high priority. What kind of campus culture is the administration fostering when it ignores a priority shared by 84% of the faculty? Furthermore, there are approximately 90 members of this college's various governance council, all of whom invest hours of time each week into governance work, not to mention the salaries. How do these stakeholders feel when all of their time and effort on governance committees culminates in a recommendation that can be overridden unilaterally by one individual? It's not the kind of stance that builds trust, motivates engagement, and increases collaboration. And isn't that the kind of culture that we want to build? One that is trusting, collaborative, and engaged? And to build that kind of culture, you have to model it. Therefore, I would also like to publicly ask President Bolger to trust the governance system into which this college has already invested so much, engage in the system through College Council, and collaborate with stakeholders to achieve consensus-based decisions within the governance system. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you, President Bolger, members of the board, and Chair Fulnegi. My name is Kevin Steves. I'm an instructional designer, and I'm also a faculty council co-chair with my partner, Jerry. ChatGPT did not write this statement for me. However, it did help me organize my thoughts, challenge my assumptions, summarize content, learn and assess my understanding, and help me find my voice. Our shared governance is designed to be a collaborative framework where every stakeholder's voice is not just heard, but is central to our decision-making process. I believe our campus climate, specifically around trust, is damaged due to a lack of an inclusive process that should provide an equal voice and opportunity for all stakeholders. Recent board training and communication have emphasized specific language, final authority, or final decision to frame shared governance as a recommendation system rather than a decision-making system. There's been a lot of emphasis placed on this piece of BP 325. Every effort will be made to reach consensus acceptable to all stakeholders. In the event consensus is not timely reached at the governance table, the final decision will rest with the administrator with authority and responsibility for the matter under consideration. Every effort will be made to reach consensus acceptable to all stakeholders before a final decision by the responsible authority is made. What does every effort mean when building consensus? There are many specific steps and processes outlined in our governance manual that I think we should all be familiar with, but at our core, I believe building consensus is a reflection of our shared institutional values. Learning with collaboration, recognition, and achievement, diversity, inclusivity, understanding, and respect, innovation, creativity, adaptability, and courage, collaboration and partnership, participation, expansion, and community, integrity, respect, honesty, and stewardship, accessibility, growth, minimization, and inclusivity, and sustainability, integration, understanding, and participation. This seems like an awful lot of work to form a recommendation versus a decision. I would love to plug this into ChatGPT and hit the easy button, but that's where generative AI will never be able to go, is being human. The process of building consensus is just as much about personal growth as it is about collaborative process or progress. It's an opportunity not only to contribute to achieving common goals, but also to learn and grow and build meaningful relationships along the way. It's a way that we can build trust and respect and a strong culture amongst the campus community where everyone feels valued, heard, and empowered. I can't imagine a better place to work or learn. I thread AI into this statement because we need the board to understand generative AI's implications to higher education. It is something every institution, administration, faculty, and student is grappling with right now. Across the globe, there's the same underlying question. What is the value of education?
Finish your thought.
We will need our entire campus community to help us understand that question and answer it. More so now than ever, we need to be human and really hold on tight to what our shared
Thank you.
values are, and that includes shared governance.
Thank you.
Sarah Erickson, followed by Wendy Simmons.
Good evening, President Bolger and members of the board. I'm speaking tonight about a new board resolution on shared governance that I was recently made aware of. I'm a faculty member in the Mathematics and Engineering department, and last spring I was newly elected to represent my department on faculty council. I was eager to devote my time, energy, and skills that I've gained from my PhD in math education and decade of teaching experience to good use, making collaborative decisions with other stakeholders for the betterment of our students and the campus community. Now I wonder if I will have the opportunity to be meaningfully involved in decision-making at all. I was elected to participate in a shared governance system, not a recommendation-making system wherein one person is the ultimate and last authority on every issue. A single individual cannot have the knowledge and expertise needed to know the best decision on every issue facing our college, which is why the presenters that the college invited from Sonder Studio said during our fall in-service that collective decision-making processes produce the best outcomes in a complex system. This push to diminish shared governance into a recommendation-making system is part of a broader pattern of what I perceive as a disrespect and lack of empathy for faculty, classified employees, and students on campus. It's particularly striking to see this proposal on proposed shared governance resolution only 1 week after the last board meeting, where dozens of public commenters and multiple board members called for a more collaborative approach to decision-making at the college. This latest move only decreases confidence in college leadership and furthers the decline in faculty morale. The campus community has expressed again and again that we want better communication and truly collaborative decision-making that meaningfully involves all stakeholders. To this end, please reject the proposed resolution and support our existing shared governance system that has been in place for 2 decades. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Wendy Simmons, and I'm reading a statement on behalf of Claire Dannenbaum, one of our LCC librarians. Dear LCC Board of Education and President Bolger, I'm sorry I cannot address you personally tonight. I am speaking as a faculty librarian and a participant in the governance redesign process that took place under President Hamilton in 2018 to 2019. I am a champion of democratic values, systems of democratic governance, and the role of discourse in healthy civic institutions. And I'm extremely concerned by Board Member Eister's resolution under consideration. I want to be clear. I am opposed to this resolution. Not only does it show disrespect to the thousands of hours of work our community has spent on crafting and refining systems that reflect democratic values, it also creates a second-class status for the diversity of voices on our campus. Under President Hamilton, and at the request of this very board, our governance system was thoroughly evaluated and many improvements have been made. More improvements are welcome. President Bolger already holds considerable power for decision-making on our campus, decisions made by a so-called cabinet which has no official capacity in the shared governance system. Nonetheless, we as a collective body are often required to respond to decisions that have skirted the governance process, landing on our plates without stakeholder input, with little analysis or forethought. This mode of decision-making is ineffective and a waste of resources. Only last week did the board hear a plea for more engagement and collaboration from our administration about reduction in staffing and programs. This week, it feels like that meant nothing to Mr. Eister. Please vote no and work instead toward the support, creation, and respect of shared governance at Lane. Thank you, Claire.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Paul Bunson, followed by Adrian Mitchell.
Good evening. Likewise, I will be reading a letter from Wendy Rawlinson. I believe she has sent this to you as well. So my name is Wendy Rawlinson, and I am a full-time mathematics faculty member, and I am writing regarding shared governance at LCC. This is my 33rd year teaching at LCC, and I have never experienced lower faculty morale than I see now. This is likely due in part to our many professional challenges during the height of the pandemic. However, I firmly believe that a huge contributing factor is incessant struggles with the administration of the college. Every week seems to bring another emergency situation where transparency and good communication are severely lacking. It's exhausting and takes focus away from the good work that we do with our students. The latest insult to all of us who have served enthusiastically with serious intent on various councils at the college is tonight's proposed change to our cherished shared governance system at LCC. I was appalled when I read the proposed draft resolution, as this is a major change to shared governance at our college and not even being tackled through shared governance itself. Changes to this important feature of our college should not be enacted based on a set of faulty claims and slide presentations that materialized last year, accompanied by the incorrect claim that they represent how the system works. Repeating inaccurate information over and over does not make it true. Many of us have worked tirelessly on councils. We bring our expertise and our sincere focus on students to bear in that work. To demonstrate all of this expertise to a recommending role is an insult and a disservice to faculty and our students. Please honor the longstanding shared governance model at the college and reject this move towards what is essentially autocratic leadership. This is one in a series of major developments that are resulting in unhealthy division on our campus and not serving our students. We can accomplish much more when we work collaboratively and with mutual respect. Please show appropriate respect to the many participants of our shared governance system by abiding by our longstanding model as is. Thank you for your careful consideration of this important and consequential issue. Signed, Wendy Rawlinson. And I will just add on a personal note, speaking as recent co-chair of our faculty council, first of all, I concur with the statement. And second of all, I would ask, why would anyone set up a complex, time-consuming system that merely makes recommendations? Anyway, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening, President Bolger and members of the board. My name is Adrienne Mitchell, and I serve as the president of the LCCEA. On behalf of the faculty, I would like to express appreciation to you all as board members for listening and hearing all of the speakers last week, and for your vote to encourage collaboration regarding coming up with creative solutions regarding the budget. I'd like to provide briefly an update on proposed program and service cuts. On Thursday, following the meeting last week, we received some retrenchment notices. We learned that there will be no cuts to the health education program. This would have impacted 1 full-time and 3 part-time faculty members and would have resulted in a net loss of $400,000 of revenue for the college. So we're heartened that this is no longer under discussion and that the health education program offering critical coursework in global health, human sexuality, drugs, etc., will continue to be available. In addition, we learned that French will continue as planned, offering its first year through spring of this year. Second year is not going to be offered and has not been offered over the past 2 years. We think it's critically important that the first year continue over the course of this year, and we're very happy that this is going to be happening this year. In addition, we learned that the Academic Learning Skills Department is not going to be experiencing any retrenchments or layoffs or section reductions. We heard that there was confusion about the workload language in our contract. We're a little bit confused about that confusion, but we're happy that it now has been clarified and that the 3 part-time faculty members working in the department and the 1 full-time faculty member will continue without any reductions with their full classes. Finally, what we are concerned about is the ongoing plan to eliminate 3 counselor positions on this campus. And we are very concerned about the impacts to students of this potential reduction. We had a collaborative meeting with administrators just earlier today where we made propose an alternative that would move the 3 counseling positions that would otherwise be eliminated to career pathways to really fully bring to fruition a vision for a workforce institute under the Workforce Development Department. This would maintain career counseling for students. This would maintain the classes and the $200,000 in revenue that is derived from those classes that the counselors teach. And it would also allow for the opportunity for to take advantage of STEP funding, which is funding provided by the federal government, which would ultimately offset the cost of the salaries in order to invest in students. We think that better solutions are possible. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you.
Russ Pearson, followed by Jim Salt.
Good evening, President Bolger, Chair Fulnegi, and the esteemed Board of Education. Tonight, I've been asked to read a statement from Bonnie Mickelson, the President and CEO of the Springfield Chamber of Commerce. She asked that this be read into the record of this evening's festivities. And I should mention that I know Bonnie from my time as a board member and chair of the board of the Florence Area Chamber of Commerce. She's excellent. We appreciate the good work at the Springfield Chamber. Dear members of the LCC Board of Education, the Springfield Area Chamber of Commerce has been a steady proponent of Lane Community College, advocating in support of favorable partnerships, policy, and funding with legislators, businesses, and community stakeholders. As we monitor budget discussions at the Board of Education, we are alarmed by an unsolved structural operating deficit and depleting capital reserves, the barely surviving assessment from independent higher education financial consultants, and implications of the recent Moody's credit rating downgrade. We are confused by the board's reluctance to take substantive, immediate action to correct the college's fragile fiscal condition. As an elected board, stewardship of the community's investment is of utmost importance, and ask you to exercise your fiduciary responsibility to protect the financial standing and long-term viability of the college. The administration has proposed measures toward solving these issues. We appreciate the difficult decision before you, but question what failure to act now will look like in 6 months or 1 year from now. Will the college's fiscal situation be better or worse? Will you have delivered on your promise to function as fiduciary stewards over the community's investment? Will the college retain the community's trust and confidence that faculty, administration, and the board work hard to earn? In 2020, the Springfield Chamber endorsed the LCC bond measure, helping the college secure $121.5 million for critical infrastructure upgrades, operational efficiencies, and expansion of sorely needed workforce education programs such as healthcare professions, advanced manufacturing, technology, and the trades. The Board of Education, in turn, promised fiscal stewardship. As you deliberate, we urge that you actively engage in dialogue with all constituencies, including businesses, community leaders, and regional employers who care deeply about this issue, have a stake in the college's future, and whose support you need to ensure Lane Community College's story is one of excellence for generations to come. Sincerely, Bonnie Mickelson.
Thank you. Next week.
Good evening. My name is Jim Saltz. I teach sociology here. And I've attended around 200 of these meetings because I used to sit at that table there as president of the Faculty Association. I am now a member of the Faculty Council, and I wrote you again this morning, providing a more readable format for the document that I had sent you last week and I spoke to about last week regarding the shared governance and the report that the Faculty Council provided last spring in response to the alleged confusion over whether or not the college president is only receives recommendations from the governing body or the college president is a member of the college council, and the governance system is a governing system, as the word kind of says. We haven't received any response to that I'm aware of. I've seen no evidence, pointing out any errors that we've made or anything that we failed to point out. And yet today we learned that there's a proposed resolution from at least one board member that seeks to clarify this alleged confusion. And I have to tell you, I was one of the founding members of the task force that created the system. I'm the only member of the LCC who was. I played a central role in it. I served as chair of the governance system, as I believe I said last week, governance council committee. I'm sorry. And there is no confusion. There may be some people who are unhappy with that system, but don't label that confusion. Be honest. Say you don't like that, right? Propose changing it, right? But to allege confusion, and I know it's stated as such in a recommendation from a former chair of the college council, but it's not accurate. And it's up to the board to understand the accuracy of claims and not simply to accept them as such and to base proposals on them. There is no confusion. There was never any confusion. President Spieley wasn't confused. The Marge wasn't confused. And I don't believe, with all due respect, that you're confused. I believe you're concerned, right? If so, call another task force, bring your concerns to the system, but to ask the board to clarify something which is at odds with the very clear rules of your policy and the governance system manual that says authority is delegated by the board to the president, who delegates that authority to other administrators in the college governance system. You can't then say that you've delegated that system, but all that system can do is make recommendations to you. Do the thousands of decisions that are made by other administrators here in a given week, are they all recommendations to one president? Is that how the system could work? It's not how our system works, and it's dishonest to say so, right? If the board has concerns about the system, ask the president to call the governance system together to address that. But to try to clarify it with a statement that misrepresents, thank you, that misrepresents the reality and the 20 almost years of that system and the thousands of hours that people have put into that, please be respectful to our governance system and to the body of our college. Thank you.
Oh, and we have one more online.
Katie Neal.
Hi, Katie.
Hello. Okay. Can I be heard?
Yep, we hear you.
Greetings, everyone. President Bolger and the board members. I appreciate this opportunity to speak. My name is Katie Neal. I'm a classified employee, and I'm also officer at large with the LCCEF. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about campus morale. When the morale of your classified employees is low, the effects can be felt across the campus. Welcome to fall 2023. in all my years at Lane, and I attended Lane as a student, and then both my daughters attended Lane. I've never experienced such a depressing culture on campus before. During my recent outreach efforts as officer at large, I noticed a common thread among the classified professionals that I spoke with. Classified professionals are burnt out. Many of positions are understaffed because the administration has eliminated positions, and then the workload just fell on the shoulders of the remaining workforce, never to be dealt with. People are burnt out, overburdened, doing the jobs of 3 or more people while they're only getting paid for 1. Our classified employees didn't even get a raise like everyone else. They deserve adequate raises with COLAs and things that don't hinge on enrollment. An investment into the classified workforce is an investment into the college itself and the students. We cannot overlook that. Most of the C3 employees, or not most, but many that I speak with, feel so frustrated and undervalued by the administration, they are actively seeking other employment. This fact should greatly concern the Board of Education and the administration. If we were to suddenly lose even a fraction of the remaining classified staff, campus would begin to lose money even faster than it is now, as the importance of classified staff would really become apparent in their absence. Lane Community College is in a continual crisis and struggling with declining enrollment numbers, but we will not be able to move forward if we do not come together and cultivate the primary workforces responsible for keeping the community college running smoothly, of which the classified professionals are an integral piece. We must find a way to work together to find a creative solution. And that solution will only be found through shared governance that involves all stakeholders. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes public comment. I do want to just state really quick, though, that per the approved agenda. Oh. Okay, what was the name of the individual? Okay.
Ed Rodza. Did you send him a panelist link?
Oh, okay. Appreciate everyone's patience.
He declined.
Declined. Okay, gotcha. All right, thank you for that. Just really quick, I just wanted to just simply state that we don't have anything on the consent agenda or action items in regards to shared governance that we're going to be voting on today. So, but we've heard your comments. We'll refer that with the president and have conversations about that. We'll move on to president's report.
Thank you very much. On a monthly basis, I provide a report at the Board of Education regular meeting to share highlights of activities and successes at LCC with the college and the community. This month's report also demonstrates some of the ways the college is working to strengthen its fiscal condition, enrollment growth, and institutional culture. I begin my report this month by thanking the Board of Education for their support of our institution. Your service as board members is invaluable to us in fulfilling the college's mission and purpose of student success. Enrollment growth with a focus on student success is a top priority. Fall term numbers in week 2 compared to fall 2022 are holding for enrollment at 8.7%, headcount at 6.4%, and full-time equivalent at 9.6% in the institution's credit offerings, excluding the College Now High School program. Please stay tuned for official numbers as registrations and full-time equivalents are finalized. As a result of a special meeting of the Board of Education on September 27th, the college has been authorized to implement non-personnel reductions and revenue enhancements. In addition, the college has been working collaboratively with stakeholders. In total, the amount of the budget balancing package is $3.8 million. Collaborations, which began early this year and continued over the summer and now into the fall, are an important step in strengthening the future fiscal condition of LCC. LCC is a resilient institution whose challenges and opportunities will be faced by working together to enhance student success. LCC also values the dignity of every individual. Since we last met, we welcomed the faculty back to campus, held a fall in service with classified professionals, faculty, and managers, where I shared the president's goals for this year and a welcome week. The Student Government Association is introducing the student government leadership to you this evening. The student voice is so important in ensuring they are heard in matters pertaining to them. I have recently announced the President's Task Force on Artificial Intelligence and the formation of an institution-wide strategic enrollment work group to join the enrollment campaign work group in the generation of both ideas and actions that improve student success and outreach. And that's my report.
Thank you so much. We'll move on to student government officers introduction. And if it's actually the pleasure of the board, our student body president could also give their report at that time too, just so we can have it earlier in the meeting. So yeah, we'll go ahead and do introductions. Go ahead.
Hello, President Bolger, members of the board. Thank you so much for inviting the Student Government Association to come before you. We look forward. I'm actually going to introduce President Sawyer Smith to introduce the other senators and one of the student voices for Lane Community College. Excellent.
Hello, Dr. Bolger, esteemed members of the board. I am the newly instated student body president, Sawyer Smith, and these are the senators as part of the Lane Student Government Association. If you'd all like to introduce yourselves, I think that would be best.
So it would be best for them to come to the podium so
Yeah.
that everyone online can hear.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Good morning, good evening, board and President Bolger. I'm Carl Solomons and I'm one of the senators.
Thank you.
Good morning, board and President Bolger. I'm Getumbala Kwaleso. I'm an international student from Congo and Senator Tree, so legislative division. And I'm glad to be here and nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Hello, President Bolger. My name is Marie-Ange Musongo Moneyang. I am originally from Cameroon, but I've been living here most of my life. I am currently the 5th senator, and this is my 2nd year on the Lane SGA. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jose Gessi-Vivege. I'm Senator 1, and I'm from Gabon. And this is my 2nd year at Lane and my first time as Lane in part of the Lane SGA.
Excellent. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nora Johnson. I'm part of the St. Agents.
Excellent. Thank you.
Good evening, Board of Education, President Bolger. My name is Lisa Kwadjo. I'm an international student from Cote d'Ivoire, and this is my first year in the Lane SG.
Excellent. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nicole Solis. I'm an international student from Costa Rica, and this is also my first year in the SGA.
Thank you. Excellent. And next is the student report or yeah, exact student body president report. Excellent. Thank you. And again, thank you for those introductions. We really appreciate that.
There's a problem with what I wrote down, so I'll just do it off the top of my head. Going into my first year as part of the Lane SGA, I had a lot of ambitions, and luckily, this year we have a good team as well. A lot of our first meeting was assigning roles to different councils and different governance systems within the college and appointments to those. So to all of you who are on governance councils, you'll be seeing a lot more of us soon. A lot of the big goals that I myself had, and I'm sure we'll come up with more throughout the year as our team has more time to discuss, are mainly two things. One of which is there's still a food crisis here on campus, and that is something we were working to address last year, but it never really goes away. So to hopefully alleviate that even further, I'd like to hopefully set some systems in place. There was a few trail systems last year that I think I would like to have go into full effect if I could. On top of that, as was mentioned in the public comment, coincidentally enough, coincided with some plans that I had for the student body itself, sort of an information hub, probably centered in the student government of different resources throughout the school. I myself had to gather information from around the school for about 2 months. And that took a lot of time away from academics, but I had a lot of extra time during summer as well. Not every student has that time. And so creating an informational hub, potentially centered within the Lane SGA office, might be very impactful to provide more resources and more knowledge about those resources throughout the school. I know that's a little bit beyond my time in office, so I would like to put the grassroots of that in place. So future SGA could potentially follow suit and make that a reality. That's all the reports for now. If anyone wants to come to our meetings, they're open to the public Thursdays for 4 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Steve?
Sawyer, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
We have heard in public testimony at this meeting and last meeting from students that they only just, heard about the meeting, just in the hours before, and felt like if there was wider publicity about board meetings, they might participate, especially give us testimony on issues that affect them. I would request that you might consider how we might best do that outreach and come and report back to us at a future meeting.
Excellent.
I'll take that request into consideration. Thank you for the input on that.
Thank you. Oh, Zach. Oh, sorry. One more question, Zach.
Oh, not a question. Just wanted to thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for serving in student government. And I look forward to hopefully getting to know you throughout the year and learning from your thoughts and experiences.
Thank you. Look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you very much. I'm particularly impressed. Maybe that's not the right word. I'm not really sure, but thank you, international students. I'm very familiar with many challenges that international students face in getting accustomed to our educational system, language, food, all kinds of things. So your dedication to student government here at Lane Community College is really special. And I noticed that we have quite a few senators representing places all around the world. So thank you very much for your service.
Absolutely. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right. Once again, thank you so much. Looking forward to future reports.
Looking forward to working with all of you this year. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda. This will require a motion and a second, as well as a roll call vote.
I move to approve.
Second.
So moved and seconded. Roll call vote. Oh, I'm sorry. The discussion, Steve, do you have anything you'd like to?
No discussion.
All right. And Mike?
Nope.
Kevin Alltucker,
Aye.
Denise Diamond. Aye. Austin Fullnagy,
Aye.
Mike Eister.
Aye.
Lisa Fragola,
Aye.
Steve Mattel.
Aye.
Zach Mulholland.
Aye.
Excellent. Consent agenda has been approved. Moving to the first action item, which is the board institutional goals. Once again, let me just clarify that this is separate from the board goals in regards to high functioning boards that the ad hoc committee has been working on. This one we discussed last time during our work session. It mostly focuses around various concepts of the strategic plan, as well as to publicly support the president's goals and strategies as a key aspect of our board goals. So the presentation does have a slide that's attached, and which actually was just mainly the suggested board goals and institutional levels. Brett, are we able to pull? Yep, thank you. It's a singular slide. Once again, we saw this in the board discussion. And Zach.
Were there any changes from what this looked like at the retreat?
There was no changes that, other than I believe, during the retreat, we added the, supporting the president's goals. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mike?
So we did talk about modifying number one, which I think we did. Our discussion was around using the equity lens or making a renewed commitment to that, I think. We did talk about that in the ad hoc group, so
Yep.
I'm okay with having that stick with whatever we come up with through the ad hoc process.
Okay, gotcha. Excellent.
Can I ask Mike something?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The,
Oh, and just so,
because the equity lens is a particular thing, does it need to be, is it useful for it to be mentioned in one? Is that what you were?
Well, that was my initial thought when I think I raised it at the retreat or in some prior meeting.
Because that's a particular document.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So for reference, oh, and by the way, Denise, don't forget the mic. So Lisa.
Oh,
can hear.
sorry.
Yep, no worries.
All right.
Yeah, just for the board's reference is a document in regards to equity lens, and it gives you essentially a series of processes to approach things with an equity lens. And with that, I am open to the concept of having that language included here as well.
I'd like to do that.
Okay, excellent.
If I could just ask some clarification on what's being asked for here. Is it a modification of one of the 7? Is it an
The first one.
addition?
The first one, is that correct, Mike?
Yeah, it would be in addition to number one.
In
Okay,
addition to number 1. And so we would say, what is it? Monitor and support colleges' efforts to improve diversity, equity, and inclusion in student access and achievement,
using
comma.
Use of the equity lens tool, I think is what we use, the language we use in our.
Okay, through use of the equity lens tool. Just want to make sure that that's a matter of record.
excellent. Lisa?
I'd like to suggest that that phrasing of wording makes it sound like the only way we will improve diversity, equity, and inclusion in student access and achievement is through the use of the equity lens. And I would like to suggest that we are not limiting this goal to the use of the equity lens. Is that correct?
Mike?
I would agree with that. That's not the intent.
Yeah,
I
that's
just want
not
to
the
make sure
intent.
we've sort of forgotten about or stopped using the equity lens. And my interest is in reinstituting it, not having it be the exclusive method by which we implement goal number 1.
May I also, Board Member
Denise, and then we'll go back to Dr. Balger.
Well, would the language, we wordsmith and inclusion in student access and achievement by using the equity lens and other tools.
Okay,
So it's
Okay.
it's broader. I don't know if that covers it or not.
excellent. Dr. Balger, did you want to respond to that before we go? Yeah, go ahead.
That would be great. I just wanted to offer that each one of the 6, the first 6, actually are goals that are in the strategic plan.
Mhm.
Each of those goals has a number of objectives underneath them. And so it is the objectives that we would be bringing back to the board, the progress on the objectives. And through the equity lens tool as one tool is something certainly that we will add. I would offer to you that the equity lens tool is probably used in all 6.
Excellent. We'll go Lisa and then Steve. I believe you were next after that. Lisa?
Thank you for that explanation, Dr. Bulger, because I see these as very high level board institutional goals, and the equity lens is a tool, and we should absolutely be using it through all of these things and at many levels. So I find it a little confusing to add it to the goal language. I certainly value and agree with Board Member Eister's desire for the board to recommit to the use of the equity lens. So that might be a better goal for what the ad hoc committee is working on, knowing that the use of the equity lens is built in throughout the strategic plan, and we're reaffirming the strategic plan in many of these goals.
Excellent. Steve?
I was largely going to really echo the things that Lisa just said. Mike, I appreciate your, interest in kind of refreshing our use of the equity lens tool. I certainly could use it. I don't think I've actually been formally introduced to it in the couple of years that I've been here. So I'm wondering if we might, refrain from using it explicitly at this high level and simultaneously commit to devoting some board time to, refreshing folks about that tool, how it's to be used, how it works.
I'm fine with that. I just wanted to have us make a commitment to reinstitute it. And it doesn't have to be here. It can be in other places.
Understood. For the purposes of a continuing discussion, is there a motion on this?
I move that we adopt the suggested board goals as they are presented.
Second.
Excellent. It's been moved and seconded. We will do, Mike, would you like to speak to your motion?
No.
All right. Zach? You want to speak to the motion? Nope.
They looked good 2 months ago. They still look good. Let's go.
Let's go. All right. Excellent. We'll do a roll call vote.
Kevin Alltucker,
Aye.
Denise Diamond. Aye. Austin Fullnagy.
Aye.
Mike Eister.
Aye.
Lisa Fragala.
Aye.
Steve Mattel.
Aye.
Zach Mulholland.
Aye.
Excellent. It's been approved. Going through these fast now. All right. We're moving on to the board policy on student trustee, originally presented by Michael Blade, but we will pass it on to Brett for. I was told that you are to
Excuse me.
present on it, but I can
Excuse me.
pass it on to Dr. Valter.
Thank you. That would be great. Yes. Certainly, Mike Blade is just not able to be here this evening, a little bit under the weather. And so this board policy on student trustee, I believe that this was part of our work session. And we are bringing it back on the action item agenda for the board's review and ultimate approval of this.
Excellent. One of the suggestions that was made by the board was in regards to not necessarily forcing the student to attend every session. So there is language in there in regards to the board meetings, the monthly board meetings. So they're not necessarily required to be here for the work sessions. And if it pleases the board, for the purposes of continuing conversation, I would like to make a motion that we pass recommended board adoption of board policy 2015 regarding student representation.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Just to speak just really briefly on this, it was really successful at Klamath Community College. I'm really happy that the board was, I really appreciate the support of the board. As you can tell, students are a critical voice and that we need to hear from, and I look forward to them being a part of our conversations. Zach, if you want to
Look forward to having a student voice on the board to hear their ideas.
Excellent. Any further discussion? Kevin?
Yeah, I think this is great. I'm going to support it and just want to suggest it doesn't have to be part of the motion by any means, but there should be some sort of onboarding process so that roles and responsibilities are clear.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I forgot to mention that in the presentation. I actually just had a great conversation right before the board meeting about how we can conduct a good onboarding process and make sure that they understand everything. So.
Thank you for bringing this forward. My experience also supports a very positive role of a student trustee.
Excellent. Thank you. Any other comments, questions? We're making really quick work of this. We'll do a roll call vote.
Kevin Alltucker.
Aye.
Denise Diamond.
Aye.
Austin Fullnagy.
Aye.
Mike Eister.
Aye.
Lisa Fragala.
Aye.
Steve Mattel.
Aye.
Zach Mulholland.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Excellent. The student representative will participate in our November meeting. So excellent. We will now move on to new program.
Coincide with what you just.
It's
right here, your amended board policy. That's my understanding of your board packet.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. I thought that was also included in there, but okay. Okay, sorry, can you explain really quick? Sorry.
So board policy 370 specifies the positions on the board, the 5 zone positions and the 2 at large. The amendment to this is what you see at the bottom pursuant to board policy 2015. And it basically states that there shall be the student trustee position.
Excellent. Thank you so much for bringing that up. If you can scroll up to the top really quick, just wanted to make sure. Okay, excellent.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
Does it matter if the student is full-time or part-time?
No. Okay. All right.
I move adoption of the amendment to the current board policy 370 to effectuate board policy 2015.
Second.
Excellent. It's been approved and seconded. Mike, would you like to speak on the motion?
No.
All right. Kevin? No. All right. Any further discussion? All right. We'll go ahead for a vote. Roll call, please.
Kevin Alltucker,
Aye.
Denise Diamond,
Aye.
Austin Fullnagy,
Aye.
Mike Eister,
Aye.
Lisa Fragola,
Aye.
Steve Mattel,
Aye.
Zach Mulholland.
Aye.
Excellent. Thank you. It's been approved. We're now moving on to new programs.
Yes, thank you very much. If like Dr. Tinkham could come to the podium. These programs were presented at the board work session, and Dr. Tinkham will be here to answer questions regarding those programs.
So, good evening, Chair Fullnagy, board members. At the September 20th board work session, myself and faculty members, Tim Hovitt, who is right behind me, and also Jeff Lands, who was online earlier, presented on the following proposed new programs. It was a 1-year certificate in small business management and also a 1-year certificate in accounting. There were some remaining questions about financial aid requirements that I was about 98% sure of, but I don't want to misspeak. And I have confirmed with our financial aid director that these certificates are indeed eligible for federal financial aid because they are at least 45 credits or above. I also want to let you know that any certificate, a lesser certificate, let's say 20 credits, as long as it's embedded within an approved program that a student would declare, the student can also get federal financial aid for those, what we would call a stackable certificate. And yes, these programs will be eligible for funding under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, but that process begins once they are fully approved. And that was something I was a little unsure of, whereas I knew that they would be eligible, I just didn't know how that would happen. But first they have to be fully approved through all of our processes, and then we would get those on the list. And I think those were the 2 remaining questions, and I don't know if you have any more for me this evening.
Excellent. Any questions? Oh, Lisa?
Yeah, I'd actually like to offer a motion on the accounting certificate.
Excellent.
Whereas,
I think
whereas Lane Community College fosters student completion of academic goals, prepares students for employment, assists regional employers, and promotes equitable achievement for the diverse students and communities we serve. And whereas an accounting 1-year certificate addresses affordability, increases access to educational opportunities, and meets workforce demands across the district. And therefore be it resolved that the Lane Community College Board of Education does hereby approve the offering of and granting of an accounting 1-year certificate beginning in fall of 2024.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Excellent. It's been moved and second. Lisa, would you like to speak on the motion?
I just wanted to say I really appreciated the presentations last week and the approach that's being taken with these certificates.
Excellent. And Mike, did you want to say anything in a second?
I appreciate the creativity of the academic staff and the faculty to find these niches where there's a need to be solved and that we can solve without having to do things really differently. We just organize it differently. It's very creative and helpful.
Excellent. Zach, you have a question?
Yeah, just is there a reason why we can't offer this to students that are going here now? Or do we have to wait till fall to offer it? Fall 24 to begin offering this 1-year certificate?
Well, we first have to get it still has to go through the state approval process, and it has to go to NUQ. So most likely that's going to take a little bit of time. However, if it goes faster, I'm sure we could offer it quicker, but we have to disallow for that time period.
Right. So beginning in fall 2024, if you can do it earlier, this doesn't stop you from doing it earlier.
I would, well, there might be, I would suggest maybe a friendly amendment.
Or sooner.
Yes, we would certainly, just to support what Dr. Tinkham is saying, we would certainly want to be able to offer this program as soon as it is approved, because I think the program is developed and it's already been through the curriculum committee. So all of the approvals internally have happened, and we're just, and with your approval this evening, that will be our final internal approval part of that process. And then it goes external to those other locations.
We'll do.
I think Denise was, you have an amendment.
Yeah, Denise, and then Mike.
No, I just want to thank you for clarifying the information on financial aid, which is very important. And it does seem like the type of course that would work really well also in Florence.
Noted.
Excellent. Mike and then Lisa.
So I'd like to offer an amendment that would just tack on to the number 2024, beginning the fall of 2024 or earlier if authorized by, who does it have to be authorized by HEC or who?
External parties.
Just by external parties.
External parties. Okay. Or earlier if authorized by external parties.
There's a motion for amendment. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Lisa, as well, just to speak on the amendment, Mike.
I think it speaks for itself. I agree with Zach. If we can do it earlier, and Shelley, yeah, let's do it.
Excellent. Steve, anything you want to add? No? Excellent. Any other discussion? We'll go ahead and vote on the amendment. Oh, okay. We'll go ahead and do a roll call. Sorry, I was happy. It was like, oh.
Kevin Alltucker.
Aye.
Denise Diamond.
Aye.
Austin Fullnagy.
Aye.
Mike Eister.
Aye.
Lisa Fragola.
Aye.
Steve Mattel.
Aye.
Zach Mulholland.
Aye.
Excellent. We now have the motion that's amended. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and do roll call vote for the amended motion.
Kevin Alltucker.
Aye.
Denise Diamond.
Aye.
Austin Fullnagy.
Aye.
Mike Eister.
Aye.
Lisa Fragola.
Aye.
Steve Mattel.
Aye.
Zach Mulholland.
Aye. Excellent. Next is the proposal for the small business management 1-year certificate.
I think you're going to have the same issue on that, on the proposal language that you might need to just
Just add that language
Add that
into the
language back
motion.
in.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you so much. Any presentation, and is there a presentation on this one? Other than
that
what
was already done last.
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. Great. Lisa?
Okay, so I have the motion ready and I'll tag that last piece on. If somebody could help me. Whereas Lane Community College fosters student completion of academic goals, prepares students for employment, assists regional employers, and promotes equitable achievement for the diverse students and communities we serve. And whereas a small business management 1-year certificate addresses affordability, increases access to educational opportunities, and meets workforce demands across the district. And therefore be it resolved that the Lane Community College Board of Education does hereby approve the offering of and granting of a small business management 1-year certificate beginning in fall of 2024 or earlier if approved by external decision makers.
External parties.
External parties, thank you.
Excellent. It's been moved and seconded. Lisa, do you want to speak on to your motion?
Again, I appreciated the presentation last weekend. I'm very excited about a small business management 1-year certificate. I think it's something that there'll be a lot of interest in the community.
Excellent. Mike, do you want to speak on it?
I agree with what Lisa said.
Excellent. Great. I just also wanted to thank both faculty members who presented on both the accounting and the business degree as well. I appreciate and also catching up with them at the in-service as well to chat as well. So thank you for your dedication to our students and to these programs. Any other discussion?
Western Lane has a lot of small businesses. And I think they will very much look forward to this. And I think I had asked the question and you had answered it about that there is a link, a communication link and a specific link to our already established small business development. I always forget the full name.
Development Center.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So
Excellent.
that just seems to round out the whole program.
I agree. All right. Any further discussion? If not, we'll go and do a roll call vote.
Kevin Alltucker,
Aye.
Denise Diamond,
Aye.
Austin Fullnagy,
Aye.
Mike Eister,
Aye.
Lisa Fragala,
Aye.
Steve Mattel,
Aye.
Zach Mulholland.
Aye.
Excellent. Has been approved by the board. And I apologize, but there's actually one last action item we need to take in regards to the student trustee role. It actually is in regards to board policy 2330, quorum and voting. This particular it's the last paragraph there for this policy. A member is defined as a current board position, regardless of whether the position is filled or vacant at the time of the meeting. However, the student member shall not count towards the establishment of a quorum. This is just wanting to be well established in this. If it's the board's pleasure, I'd like to make a motion that we amend the current board policy 2330.
Second.
Yeah, thank you so much. Sorry for my stuttering on that one. And just simply to, this is really critical, I think, for quorum purposes. So, Lisa, do you want to speak on it at all?
No.
Excellent. Any other discussion? We'll move to a vote.
Zach Mulholland,
Yes.
Steve Mattel,
Yes.
Lisa Fragala,
Yes.
Mike Eister,
Aye.
Austin Fullnagy,
Aye.
Denise Diamond,
Aye.
Kevin Alltucker.
Aye.
Excellent. Thank you. We've completed the action items and we are moving on to discussion items. First one is in regards to academic affair update.
Yes, Dr. Tinkham, I believe we're doing academic affairs first.
Oh, great. I think I'm gonna just, can you hear me? No.
A little louder.
I'm
Yep.
just gonna go-
Apologize for, yep. Thank you.
Go back to the podium.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm here again. So I submitted my report to you and I trust that you've read it, so I'm not going to read it to you, but I want to bring just a few items to your attention, ones that I think are really noteworthy. On September 14th, the Office of the Vice President of Academic Affairs, we hosted Faculty In-Service Day in collaboration with Student Affairs. And the theme of in-service focused on the student experience and the importance of the faculty-student relationship. The featured presentation was delivered by our own faculty, by Dr. Gina Sabati. She's a member of our writing faculty. She's actually on sabbatical at this point in time, or else I would have asked her to give us some information. She has a data equity fellowship through the Northwest Commission on Colleges and Universities, and she explored basically the relationship between faculty on student retention with our institutional researcher, Kathy Thomas. So that was our featured presentation. And, you know, the literature does support, I mean, it's repeated in the literature, this relationship with faculty engagement and the student does result in retention. So they did like a micro study and they looked at providing faculty with timely data. And it was just a small study, I think mostly with just a few classes on providing information to faculty and having them communicate that information to faculty. And then they took a look at how many students were registering and they found that indeed that close relationship does impact the student experience. So that was our featured presentation, which again, that was delivered by our own faculty. They realize that this does have a positive impact and we want to start taking these sorts of initiatives to scale. We, Academic Affairs also collaborated with Faculty Professional Development to organize a keynote speaker during their professional development. And we brought in experts from on artificial intelligence, and that is Helen and Dave Edwards. I think I already spoke to you a little bit about this. And they run Saunders Studios, and they also host Artificiality. It's a podcast, and they're experts in AI. We are going to be continuing this theme on AI, as Dr. Bolger was talking about. We will be establishing a presidential task force to comprehensively examine the opportunities and the challenges posed by AI. We've got challenges. We also have some opportunities with AI as well. So myself and Kevin Steves, who's here today, he's the co-chair of Faculty Council. He and I will be co-chairing this group, and we'll be working together to populate that task force. With Kevin is very adamant of doing it through the shared governance system, and I am supportive of that as well. I also want to talk to you a little bit about program enrollment this evening. As you know, we received a generous donation from Peace Health that has helped us grow our nursing cohort by 16 students. We were able to do that very quickly. I also want to report to you that our aviation programs are all at capacity. This is inclusive of our pilot, our drone, and our mechanics program. And this is really the work of our director in this program. He was really out there just doing person-to-person marketing and has been really able to turn that. And we're just delighted that we have so many students who are interested in that area. And I also had the pleasure of flying with one of our faculty, Sean Parrish, and I can tell you that the quality of the program shows. So it's really exciting. And for me, it fascinates me how someone can learn how to do that in a three-dimensional environment, because I'm just fascinated. How do you know what's up and down? But they do. And so anyway, it's just absolutely fascinating how you can get a student to be able to do that so quickly. So
Just by the look on her face, it looks like Stephanie wants to sign up.
no, we have talked about this, and I don't know if Stephanie is going up in a little tiny airplane, but I found it absolutely fascinating. And I was like, how do you teach your students how to do this? And how do they know what's up and down? And there's a lot of trust there. So it's a really fabulous program.
Absolutely.
So
Lisa,
any questions for me?
yeah, Lisa had a question.
Yes.
Oh, you're on mute. Sorry.
Thank you, Austin. Thank you, Shelley, for your report. I always appreciate and enjoy reading them. And I'm really appreciating that we get to have you highlight some of the things that you're writing. So thank you for that. I'm curious, the presentation that you discussed about faculty engagement with students and those close relationships having a positive outcome on retention. Was that recorded and is it available on the website that I might be able to view it?
I think so. Yes, I believe so. Let me look into that. I think we had a Zoom link, so my assumption is that it's been recorded.
Okay, great. I would love to be able to watch that if it were at all possible. And then the second thing I wanted to ask, and I don't expect an answer this evening, but you likely heard an idea earlier tonight, and in the spirit of the board's motion at our last meeting to pursue collaborative solutions to some of the budget balancing strategies for the reserve for revenue shortfall. I wanted to just point out the idea that was made about a different model for the career counselors, and the idea of them needing to be a part of a comprehensive workforce career and employment area, and that this model would be leveraging the resources and provide clarity over the roles. And so I just wanted to highlight that, and I hope you might consider it as you work through some of your collaborative efforts.
Would you like to respond?
Sorry?
Oh, would you like to respond?
Oh, sure. Yes. All ideas are being considered.
Yes,
Great.
and I was at that meeting today, and we're having further discussions.
Great. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Any further questions? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to the next discussion item.
That's Dr. Colin Joyce.
Yep.
And that's the Student Affairs Report.
Correct. Yep.
Hello, Dr. Bolger and Board of Education. I want to say thank you. I'm always happy to give these reports. I don't have as much to talk about this time, but I'm also going to introduce one of our deans up to kind of give some information on what we've been going through in the last couple of weeks. There's a few things I think going on. One, at this point in the term, we're focusing primarily on helping those students who've come back to campus, kind of help them get where they're going. There's lots of different situations, financial aid, textbooks, everything you can think of. Making sure they turn up for class, reaching out to students who haven't shown up, trying to get students back into class who are dropped from class, all these kind of things. So we're all pretty busy right now. But also, I did want to point out one group of students that we've been kind of putting a bit of a special focus on, and that is the returning students that we engage through Modomatic, through a collaborative effort from marketing communications, through institutional research, and the Office of Enrollment Services. We ended up reaching out through this organization, Modomatic, and the use of social media to get 430 students to return to Lane College, which is phenomenal for the size of our institution. It's rare you can invest in a third-party vendor and have this level of success. So what we're working on right now is doing individual reach outs to all of those students who've returned to try and give them a bit of extra love to keep them engaged, because sometimes returning students do struggle a little more. There was sometimes the reason they dropped out in the first place. So that's one of the things we're working on. Other things I wanted to mention, as you all know, we had Accrowd consultants come out to campus. I believe it was in May of just before I arrived here of 2023, and they did campus-wide interviews with constituents across campus, small groups, and they gathered a lot of information. And I've worked with this organization before, and they really are stellar in kind of getting the finger on the pulse of a college or a university. And the experts they sent out have a big history of community colleges. And they found about 41 initiatives, I believe, or 41 areas, recommendations they said we should look at. And with that, where we work to kind of home it in a little bit and look at some specific initiatives that could have the biggest impact on student enrollment at Lane. And so the consultants themselves are going to make a presentation to the board on November the 1st in the board meeting on that date. And so you'll be able to talk to them firsthand about that and hear their recommendations. And also, there's a number of recommendations in the strategic plan in regards to enrollment, and then the Enrollment Advisory Board. Actually, let me just go back. Dr. Bulger asked me to clarify acronyms. ACRO is the American Association of Collegiate Registrars and Admissions Officers, but they do much more than that. They really, as I said, understand enrollment patterns and also best practices. And then the Enrollment Advisory Board, another national organization that does an amazing job of gathering data and statistics on what works at colleges, what doesn't work, and they have information on all of our partner colleges and universities. They came out during in-service and made presentations with information about how we stack up against other community colleges, and it was very enlightening. They also talked about things such as economic changes. They talked about what students are more likely to succeed and which ones are not, and how we can impact that, looking at part-time enrollment. And they give us a lot of really good information on our college versus what the national trends are. And I also talked to the EAB presenters, and they said they'd also be happy to give a presentation to the board as well to see how we match up against what trends are, so we can, look at what we're doing to make positive impacts going forward. So I wanted to mention those couple of things to you. I also wanted us to be thoughtful. This is the 2 weeks, pretty much at the end of this week. What we see is the enrollment numbers typically drop a little bit more. And so I want us to be thoughtful. The goal was 5%. I still think we're going to make it, but we might see just a little drop between now and again. And going back, I remember a board meeting a little while back when new enrollments, when it looked like we were 19% up. It's just something we need to think about when we're thinking about budget and things like that. It's so important. I've seen this so many times in my career where the enrollment, as you get closer, students add drop, they do all sorts of things. And also the fraudulent applications is very real. We're in a meeting with multiple community colleges today across the state. I'll give you an example. Portland Community College received 17,000 applications this fall. 1,500 of them were fake applications. And so what we're all doing right now, we all developed and brought in this great technology, such as TargetX and things like that, to help us automate this process, to remove barriers for students, to make things quicker. And then since COVID, basically with the HERF money that was going around, there were characters out there who decided this was a way they could make some money. So it's going to be an ongoing thing. I don't think it's going to change. I actually think as institutions, we probably need to go beyond trying to figure out IT solutions and front-end enrollment solutions, and probably invest long-term in bringing on an employee that does this for a job, because it's the future. If this is what's happening now, they're adapting and changing the strategies as we try to block them. So I think that's something we need to think about long term. And now I just wanted to also introduce Carl Yeh, Dean of Student Engagement, because he's going to talk more. He did a brilliant job in the last few weeks of organizing events on campus that just were fantastic. The student engagement, the amount of students who attended, it really made me happy to be here. So.
Thank you, Dr. Joyce. Hello again, Chair Folnegi, members of the board, Dr. Bulger. I forgot to mention when I was here up earlier, there was a reason I was introducing the SGA officers, is because I'm also their advisor. That was a little fact I forgot to put in there. So I wasn't just trying to get more FaceTime with you all. And I forgot to mention, if I may dare compare them with the members of the board, they all had to file and get elected, so they were all voted in. So there's definitely some commonalities. I'm very privileged to be able to advise them. And thank you again, Dr. Joyce. It was my privilege to be able to lead a wonderful group of people to do some activities for our students incoming. Today, I'd like to talk with you about three things: what we did for Welcome Week, the Resource Fair, and for Hispanic Heritage Month, which is actually going on currently right now. So for the first 2 days of fall 2023, dozens of LCC employees greeted students online, downtown, and on the main campus. So 3 places. Welcome tents and roaming staff offered treats and beverages. They walked them to their classes, helped them get online to get, do their computer stuff for registration and emails and things like that. Get academic advising, get financial aid help, and a lot of other things. I definitely want to thank all of the volunteers from faculty, classified, managers, the president and her cabinet for being volunteers and for making the first day of school so special for so many of our students. Just to give you an idea of some of the participation we had, definitely hundreds of people went through, but nearly 250 students took the time to enter a raffle that we had, and actually around 130 online students completed an online scavenger hunt to be also entered into prizes, which is really impressive. Next, I'd like to talk to you about our resource fair, which just happened earlier this week. This was our next phase of Welcome Week. More than 30 groups from within and outside of our campus showed up and showed how they could affect and enhance our students' lives for our resource fair. This was held at Center Building, 2nd floor. And as an added incentive for students to interact with more tables, students could get passport stamps at each table to enter a prize drawing. The Welcome Week committee is going to debrief not only Welcome Week, but the resource fair, and talk about how to possibly do a version of it for our winter and spring terms, because we recognize not all of our students come in during the fall. They come in on other terms, and we want to make sure they feel just as welcome as our fall students. I also want to take the opportunity to thank the Welcome Week Committee, which was composed of Rosa Maria Buenuelos Uribe, Claire Grayman, Megan Miller, Rebecca Ramos, Kyle Schmidt, Desiree Woodruff, Downtown Center Rebecca Long, Ian Coronado, and Jennifer Kepka. So thank you very much to those individuals. And then finally, I'd like to just talk a little bit about Hispanic Heritage Month. First, I want to thank President Bolger for recognizing National Latinx Hispanic Heritage Month in our campus-wide email on October 2nd. President Bolger, your message and the campus activities put on by Student Affairs and the library recognize and celebrate the Hispanic and Latinx community. Currently, there are 2 displays at Building 1. So if you go there, we have one display that celebrates our local Latinx leaders. For example, like Ashley Espinoza, who is the current executive director of Lane Workforce Partnership, and our very own faculty member, Jim Garcia, who is a recipient of a prestigious National Teaching Award. The other display celebrates Latinx veterans in the U.S. military, such as Lieutenant Colonel Olga Custodio, the first female Hispanic U.S. military pilot. The Multicultural Center, also located in Building 1, is hosting a movie about the first migrant farm worker to be in space. The movie is called A Million Miles Away. It's about Jose Hernandez, a real NASA astronaut who grew up as a migrant farm worker, went to college and became an engineer. The MCC will show this movie, followed by a brief discussion on October 12th. And then Dr. Mike different event, Dr. Mike Salmon on October 19th will bring a topic that he will talk about Latinx issues. Next, the LCC Library has a Hispanic Heritage Month book display, as well as hosting a game of Loteria on October 10th with poems, prizes, and snacks. Actually, when I read poems, I wasn't sure what that meant, but I will have to go and find out. So the MCC's Mecha Student Organization, also advised by Jim Garcia, will also be celebrating Dia de los Muertos at the MCC on November 1st. Everyone is invited. And then finally, special thanks to Alizell, who is the coordinator of the Maxwell Student Veteran Center, for his center's display, and the Hispanic Heritage Month Committee composed of Rosa Maria Buenuelos Uribe and Rebecca Ramos, Will Velez, and also Jim Garcia. So thank you very much. Thank you for letting me tell you about all the stuff we're doing.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
That's a good question.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Well, actually, really quick, just briefly with the board, we scheduled only 10 minutes for this. If it's okay, the pleasure of the board to add 5 minutes to the agenda to allow for discussion. Excellent. Great. Denise, go ahead.
Hi. Well, wow. That's great. That's really exciting.
Thank you.
A couple of questions. We have a lot of linguistic opportunities. And so, and I'm sure that some of the returning students, new students and everything are using different language.
Mhm.
I'm just wondering if how that gets addressed, if there are sometimes student volunteers who have been here, know their way around a little bit and are willing to use their native language in assisting other students to feel comfortable and kind of get to know their way around. That was one question. And then the other one was the resource fair idea. Bravo. That's always so important. And I'm wondering if that also gets on YouTube, if it gets a channel or media for those students who maybe like to use that and maybe aren't coming on campus, but would watch a video presentation on the various resources.
Well, that's a fantastic idea. I'll cover the resource fair one first. Definitely, we'll take that idea and we'll try to run with that. I think that's something that we're always trying to find different ways to engage our online students, because some of them, before the reason they chose being online, won't be able to join us for something like a resource fair. So thank you for that suggestion.
Right.
Any further questions?
And when it comes to students who have several languages, we do one of the things I say I've noticed since I got here is we have students who volunteer in trios, or tutors in trio specifically, and I know we've got a number of international students who work in there, and Travis Blue, our director of trio, actually enjoys having the international students there, one for languages, but also the cultural differences, and the students get a lot from each other in those interactions, and that's something we do. But having students, with language skills, being able to help in those events is something we'll bring up in the Welcome Week and the resource fair kind of debriefs.
I just had one other question about the
that's quite the number, 430
Yeah.
students captured on the returning. And do we have data that lets us know how many of those might be first generation students, or does it get sorted in particular ways?
Yes, I have that, and I could send that to the board as well. Absolutely. We
Thank you
do
so
gather
much.
that information on, I know something like 60% of them are male. We've got the percentage broken down by diversity and a number of different things. So I'll send that to the board.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Excellent. Any other questions? I have actually a statement and then a question, actually. First off, I just wanted to thank all the faculty, classified professionals, cabinet who wore the Ask Me. That was incredible, walking on campus and seeing that, and just everyone stepping up to be so helpful to our students. Yes, just as an example right there. That was I can only imagine a student walking throughout our campus and feeling that support and the welcomeness of that. Thank you for all the work that went into that. My question in regards to the fraudulent student applications, I know this has been a continuous problem. I know it's like Salt Lake City Community College was hit really badly by this. And I know we've been aware of it even when we were advocating for cybersecurity funding at the state level. Our actions to counter this has been going on for quite some time, right? We haven't, So tell us a little bit more about how we've, without giving cybersecurity secrets, but anyway, to combat that.
All right. So, the CAPTCHA option that cut down on a lot of the bots initially that we're putting in multiple applications. We have people looking at are these applications being submitted in the middle of the night? And, we flag applications that look a little different. If we're coming from specific IP addresses, we're starting to flag those kind of things. So IT's working very closely with us on these as well. Phil in IT in particular. Other things we look at is students who are looking to register in courses that do not have prerequisites. And now students are also, if you do get in, there are actually some students, what we're talking about, the other community colleges are now even attending for the first week or two, online or however, just like minimally to make sure they get the financial aid award. And so that's what I'm saying. They're moving they're adapting as we adapt. So we're talking, we had a meeting, and this is really early stages, but with a number of the community colleges, CSSA, we had a big meeting last week and then a follow-up one with more of a small group on this. We're talking about the possibility of going in together as a consortium to look at doing something like creating an identity confirmation on the front end, like an app on all of our applications, working with an outside vendor. It's just one idea we're looking at.
I was just going to add, I missed you all on September 20th, the work session. I was returning from Washington, D.C., where I attended AACC's Advocates in Action, which is a 2-day conference for government relations employees at community colleges around the country. And the Undersecretary of Education presented at the conference, and I took the opportunity as soon as he was off the stage to go grab him before he left. And we got to speak for 5 minutes on this issue. And it was interesting because there were about 75 attendees at this 2-day event, and we all kind of showed up wondering, is this an issue specific to our part of the country, or is this something that all community colleges are dealing with? I mean, Virginia showed up with the same question that Oregon showed up with. And so we were kind of shocked to realize the scope of this problem that we're all dealing with. The undersecretary, I gave him contact information for myself, basically told him, it feels like Lane Community College is taking on organized crime by ourselves, and they have way more resources than we do. And within 2 hours, he wrote me back, which was a shocker to me. And he connected me with the 2 individuals in the federal government who are in charge of taking on this issue. They can't tell us everything that they're doing at the federal side. I think the 1,500 fake applications that PCC got was a fraction of what was probably submitted and that the feds kind of dealt with before some of those applications got passed through. But they do believe that when the new FAFSA is launched in December, that should help take down some of the numbers that we're dealing with. But I did encourage the two individuals in charge of this issue to join a Zoom meeting with the Oregon President's Council. So hopefully that's in the works for one of the upcoming months, and also work with a panel of financial aid directors in Oregon. And, my goal was to get best practices of what other states around the country are doing on this issue. They can't tell us, the feds can't tell us everything they're doing, but I said, please tell us what you can, what's working elsewhere, what can we do? And so hopefully we'll get a little more support from the federal government. They're being very careful because they don't want to share what they're doing that's working, because as soon as they do, the bad folks know. And so hopefully we'll see a little more assistance from our federal partners.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. Any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll move on to, we already did the student report. We already did the student report, so we'll move on to the LCCEA report. Okay. Okay.
Good evening, members of the board and President Bulger. I'm going to report on a few updates. The first one is regarding the health clinic. We have reached a settlement with the college regarding the unfair labor practice complaint that LCCEA filed in June regarding our contract requirements for student healthcare at the clinic and requirements regarding notice and good faith discussions whenever retrenchments are planned. We're pleased to report the essential terms of this settlement include that the clinic will remain open this year and that all services to students in the clinic will continue to be provided, including reproductive healthcare. We look forward to ongoing discussions of the healthcare task force and presentation of the task force recommendations to the board at a future meeting. We're very encouraged by the enrollment update with 9.6% up for FTE and 8.1% up for credits as of this week. These will both impact the budget positively. We're asking that full information be provided publicly as soon as possible regarding tuition revenue because tuition has already been assessed for this term and no-show drops were already processed, which means that basically that is what happens for students who are not attending classes, they would automatically be dropped. And that happens at the very beginning of week 2, right before tuition is assessed. So now that we're in week 2, we will know what our tuition revenue for the term is. We're also looking forward to updates from the HEC about LCC's allocation from the CCSF, and both of these exceed what is built into the budget and will reduce the revenue shortfall. I'm going to share some all faculty survey results, and I will follow up and send this by email. It will include some charts and graphs for those of you who might be interested in those. And so I'd like to share that our most recent all faculty survey from June of this year included 248 faculty participants, which was a 62% response rate among all faculty. And I'm really proud to report faculty prioritization of student-centered needs. And so the first one is that 78.5% of respondents indicate that it is a highest or high priority to address student needs with wraparound services such as advising, counseling, tutoring, staffing to support students' immigration questions, etc., with 57.7% of faculty indicating it is a highest priority. Likewise, 77.5% of respondents indicate it is a highest or high priority to address student basic needs, such as sufficient funding and staffing for the food pantry, establishing a basic needs center, and addressing student housing insecurity by leveraging the LCC-owned Titan Court apartments, with 60.37% indicating it is a highest priority. Again, I will send this by email accompanied with the graphs so that you can review those figures, but I'm just really proud to be a part of a group who so strongly centers students in our priorities. And last but not least, I sometimes like to end on a positive note with these reports. And so faculty do like to do things for fun. Besides coming to board meetings, we do have lots of other activities that we like to do that are fun. So our LCCEA membership committee is hosting a movie night at the Broadway Metro, where we will have a private screening and enjoy some camaraderie and maybe even some popcorn as we watch Made in Dagenham, which is the true story of a group of working class women who worked together for fair wages at the Ford Motor Company in 1968 England. So we're looking forward to that as well this month. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Clarifying question.
Oh, yeah. Clarifying question?
Yeah, Adrian. had a question.
Yeah.
I just want to get
Yes.
clear. I think I heard you at the beginning say that you had, a while back filed some kind of a, I don't know, a legal complaint regarding the health clinic and that there was a settlement and, would you just be clear? Are you saying that there was a legal settlement resulting from that filing that you put out?
Yes, so the essential terms have been agreed. So the hearing that would have been scheduled has been canceled. That is the current status, that the essential terms of the agreement have been reached. And those terms include that the clinic will remain open this year and all services to students in the clinic will continue to be provided, including reproductive health care.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the clarifying question. All right, next is the report for LCCEF. Frankie, I'm not sure if she is online or if there's a stand-in for LCCEF. Seeing none. Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right. We'll move on from that. Thank you. Next is information reports. Is there anything that any board member wants to ask, discuss in regards to it? Mike and then Denise.
So I have a question for Dr. Bulger. And before I ask it, I want to preface it by saying I realize that you're in the middle of an ongoing process. So you may or may not be able to answer as fully, but Adrian mentioned some things in her first presentation about areas of agreement. And I'm just wondering if you can confirm, elaborate, give us a little bit more information about the collaboration that actually the administration has been engaged with for quite some time, well before the motion of the board, but where we stand on that.
Certainly. Thank you for that question. Really, collaborations have been occurring since the budget development subcommittee. So early this year, and then there was a budget committee, and certainly we received an adopted budget, and there have been collaborations and work within units over the summer. And now that everyone is back, the faculty in particular. So on 9/20/28, I think it was, and Shana may need some help with the dates. I think it was 9/28. The unions were both given notice. The official notice in the faculty agreement, there are requirements about notice, and we follow the process. So that happened on 9/28. Since then, meetings have started to occur. And I know, I don't know details right now, but I certainly know that meetings have been taking place. What is this, Wednesday? Probably as early as yesterday or even Monday, that meetings started to occur. And so those discussions are occurring right now, and they will be occurring over the rest of the month.
Thanks.
Excellent. Denise?
Yes, so I think we've heard a lot this evening about bilingualism and Hispanic heritage. And I'm familiar with Hispanic Serving Institution, an HSI grant, which is a multi-million-dollar. So I'm interested in if the college is, in fact, working towards that end, and if so, where we might be at with that, because I think that's very, it's obviously very important. Our faculty and staff that are part of representing that. You can't really get a Hispanic Serving Institution grant without some of those data pieces in line, not only the students that are served, but the faculty and staff and managers that are represented to be a Hispanic Serving Institution. So are we in pursuit of that? And if so, where are we?
Dr. Bulger?
we're certainly, the institution is interested in becoming an Hispanic serving institution at the appropriate time. It's in the strategic plan. That's the 2022 to 2027 strategic plan. So it is an objective in one of the goals. This year, we have identified some of the objectives that we're going to work on, because those objectives will be sort of foundational objectives to help us fulfill the rest of the objectives in the strategic plan. I can't say that pursuing HSI designation is one of those objectives for this year. Our in student enrollment is between 14 and 18%. Latinx or Hispanic. I don't know if anybody, we don't have Kathy Thomas here, but I don't know if Colum, you know for sure.
It is there. Can you speak in the mic just so Lisa can hear?
Can you hear me on this, or shall I?
Maybe go up to the mic actually, never mind. Lisa could hear you, in fact. Yeah, so you can just stay on this mic. Excellent.
Right. We're going to reevaluate the numbers of students that are Hispanic based upon our new incoming fall cohort. I did notice that they did seem a much more diverse cohort than from what we've seen before, and early numbers are possibly indicating that too. But as we get the enrollment reports next couple of weeks, we'll be able to kind of delve into that. But the population of Eugene Springfield area, the Hispanic population, and also Lane County in general, especially Lane County, is definitely under what it would be to be a Hispanic serving institution. We would really have to do a lot to get there. We were talking about looking at becoming an emerging Hispanic serving institution as first steps, and looking at that, I think, as we're setting goals, because it is something we are going to see an increase in Hispanic population in the area. We're starting to see it, but I think if we align our goals with becoming an emerging institution, we'd be better off doing that and moving steadily.
My understanding, Board Member Diamond, is that the institutions that have the HSI designation have 25% or more of students who are Latinx or Hispanic, and we are not there. And that's why Dr. Joyce mentioned the emergent designation. And so we'd be finding out about that. I would really be, if we have the resources, I would really be interested in having some people from the institution go to the HAKU conference, because that would be also, what does HAKU stand for? We'll find out. But we'll go to the HAKU conference. It's one of the standards in our field. And it would be a really nice entry into developing colleagues who have HSI designations at their institutions.
Excellent.
I've been, it's very useful.
Excellent. Any other things in regards to the reports? Steve?
Go ahead.
No.
To finish up what you're saying.
It's a different subject. I am a bit wondering, and when the food crisis that was mentioned by the students, what can we do to help? I mean, this seems, something to pay attention to. I imagine we're linked with a food share and some of the other organizations in town, but what is creating the crisis, and what needs to be done to help mitigate it?
Dr. Balch?
I was looking at some data just recently for a video that we shot yesterday. It was either around 47 or 50% of our students are either food insecure or housing insecure. We have, those combined challenges with our students. And I wonder if Dr. Joyce can kind of mention some of the resources that we have on campus. And I know Sawyer mentioned some of those as well. We have a food pantry on campus. We also have relationships with the University of Oregon and their food bank, and maybe even Food for Lane County.
Yeah, we work with multiple different organizations throughout Lane County when it comes to this. We're not doing it alone. It really is a joint effort. Carl runs our food pantry on campus, and I would really invite you to come and look at it. It is really that it's not just a food pantry, it's clothing. It's got clothing for interviews. It's got You'll see even clothing for children, all sorts of things there. So I think we do go above and beyond. I know also Wendy and the foundation also is always asking to give us money to expand what we're doing. And so I'm trying to figure out ways we can do that. But, I only seen it in action as much during the summer. I'm a bit newer here. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how it works during the fall. And I think we can work. What we really need to do is work with Sawyer and the SGA and survey our students on their needs. I'm sure we've done it before, but that's something we need to do again to see what the real needs of students are, rather than us making our own assumptions. And what Dr. Bulger said is correct, that the number of students are housing insecure, and that was quite real. Our financial aid department, other areas, and career pathways, especially, working with these students on a regular basis. I can also find out more about what we're doing and send you a follow-up on that too.
Absolutely. Additionally, House Bill 2835 requires community colleges to have what's called a benefits navigator. That benefits navigator essentially helps students get into different resources, including food, housing, and so forth. The STEP program, which if you qualify for food stamps, you qualify for that, also allows you to have access to a variety of different resources, not only for the payment of your education, but also for additional resources that benefits navigator can assist with. Brett, I might rely on you a little bit on this in regards to the food, the hunger-free campus. We passed that passed, right?
I would have to check.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I know what you're referencing, and
Yeah.
it may have been a casualty of the Senate walkout.
That's right.
Session.
That's right. At the OCCA level, there's this process or this program that's essentially called Hunger-Free Campus Awards. It essentially awards campuses for being essentially having resources so that they can prevent hunger to student populations on campuses. We'll double check to see. I do have to agree. There was a lot of bills, unfortunately, that were dropped because of the walkout. But this is something that is being considered at OCCA as well, and the legislative committee is going to be working really closely to see what else we can do to prevent hunger amongst our students. Brett?
It died in committee.
It died in committee. Yeah.
But I do know that the Oregon Student Association has made it a priority for the next session to bring it back.
Excellent. Thank you. Yep. Thank you for that. Any other questions, Steve?
Yeah, kind of a follow on to some of the things that Denise brought up. I just wanted to make a pitch for returning to our regular agendas, the opportunity to have presentations from folks on the staff as well as on the faculty. We had several of them last year. We had somebody from Blade magazine come in, from somebody from the drone program, somebody from SBA, the career pathways and care program, and they talked specifically about the benefits navigator, the fabrication program, et cetera. Those are the ones I could remember off the top of my head from last year. I think there were several more, so I apologize for the ones that I couldn't recall right off the top of my head. But as a board member, as a relatively new board member, it's really illuminating. It's honestly, that's how I learned, right? About all the incredible things going on at Lane. And quite honestly, it helps me sort of see Lane in a much more holistic way than is often presented at board meetings, right? At board meetings, our job is to kind of wade through some really difficult, thorny issues that, that often, our job is to resolve various conflicts. So it appears to me at board meetings without those things that morale is really low. And perhaps it is. I don't want to say that, but it is helpful to see a different perspective, all of the really incredible things going on at Lane. And that was a great way to do it last year. It's really educational. So I want to advocate for the return of those on a monthly basis.
Noted. Excellent.
I had another item.
Yep. Go ahead, Steve.
I also wanted to talk a little bit about the draft motion that Mike introduced into the board I don't know, into the minutes for the meeting. It attracted some attention from faculty as expected. It is going to be a thorny issue to work through. And I think we have some commitment on the board to wade in there and clarify despite the concerns expressed about the use of that particular term. So we heard a lot from several faculty members this evening about reasons why not to do it. I want to ask President Bulger if we can also reach out, or who we might reach out to in terms of, from ACCT, I'm thinking, as well as potentially our recent search consultant, past presidents, whoever it might be, to give us some other perspective on what the value of supporting the motion that Mike introduced would be. I recognize there's going to be both sides, but I think that we do want to hear what other perspectives are like there. And so I want to find out how it would be that we could reach out and get some of that perspective.
All right. Just really quick in regards to
hoping for a response from.
Okay, gotcha. Dr. Bulger.
We'd be happy to reach out to some people, some groups. ACCT, the Association for Community College Trustees, is the leading organization. Your leading professional organization, essentially, in community colleges as Board of Education members. And I'm aware, actually, that the CEO actually has visited institutions and has had a chance to talk about any questions that board members might have. So that's a person we could reach out to. I think you mentioned the search consultant. I might have her on speed dial, actually, still. And so consider her a colleague. And so I could certainly reach out to her. And I think you even mentioned the former presidents. I have good relationships with both of them. And I could reach out to them as well. Whatever the pleasure is of the board, I could certainly do that. It might, if you need, have questions, if you want context, they would be the ones to give you all of that.
Just really quickly, I know this is kind of sounding more like in the board comment section as opposed to the information reports. I just wanted to one last call, and we can definitely continue these conversations. For information reports.
I just have some comments when the time comes.
Okay, perfect, great, excellent. Anything else in regards to the information reports? All right, I just really briefly in regards to the information reports, I wrote an email to our cabinet to thank them for the work that they put into everything, not only with recent board conversations, answering our questions, but also the work that goes into these reports. I greatly thank you. And quite frankly, I wrote an email to you all, but that email cannot encapsulate the work that you all do and the appreciation that we have for these reports, the work that you do every day. And I just simply wanted to thank you during this time period we're talking about those reports for the work that you put into this every day. You are critical to our institution, to this board, and to our community as a whole. Thank you. Moving to the good of the order, we'll cover future meeting dates. For everyone's information, we are going to be in Florence for the next for the board session. Really looking forward to that. And I also know that we sometimes hold board meetings in different locations. I just wanted to inform the board, and we don't have to make a decision tonight. We were given an open invitation by the aviation program, that was mentioned earlier. Their hangar supposedly is a fascinating place to have a board meeting. So we have an open invitation for that if we want to consider that for future board meetings and learn more about the program.
I saw our IT folks slap their heads. So I don't know if there are challenges with that location.
I'm just letting the board know of open invitation to that. Absolutely. Anyway, moving on to board comments and questions. Kevin, I know you mentioned that you had something.
I do. Thank you, Chair. So I learned so much at these board meetings. I really appreciate all of the information that we get as board members. So I have 3 points. They're all kind of related. And so we're beginning to hear some different perspectives about the college's financial position and some concerns amongst some community members. And so tonight, Russ Pearson read a letter into the record from the Springfield Chamber of Commerce that is something that caught my attention. And the letter ask the board to consider engage in dialogue with all constituencies, including businesses and community leaders and regional employers. And I think that's an important thing to remember. I want to touch really briefly on kind of a chance encounter that I had with a generational donor to this college. So their family has been some of the largest supporters of LCC. And unsolicited, this individual expressed their concerns to me about the college's financial position, and that this person was letting me know that their future support of the college really depends on this board's ability to navigate this financial situation quickly and expertly. And so that was interesting to me. And then finally, I'm the ratio guy. I'm having difficulty reconciling the facts on the ground here, where in 2011, we had a student to employee ratio of 16. And after a 60% drop in enrollment last year in 2022, that ratio was 8 students per employee. And that I just keep coming back to that as a very stark financial fact, that I, as an elected board member, have the responsibility to take as much information and evidence as I can and make tough decisions on how to allocate limited resources. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Steve?
Yeah, well, first apologize. When I was making a bunch of comments a few minutes ago, I thought this is where we were in the agenda. So my apologies. Thank you for correcting me.
Totally understandable.
So I made a couple comments about the program update request, asking for some guidance on the governance issue. We're going to get more into that. It would be useful to get some outside perspective, and also trying to reconcile some issues we saw in President's report, I believe, or some communication from Dr. Bulger in the last day or two that said roughly that the health clinic legal issue had been dropped. And then we also heard just now in the LCCEA report that it had been settled. And those are two dramatically different things in my understanding. So I just want to get find out how to rectify that. I mean, they mean one settled to me means very different than having the motion drop. So I'm just trying to understand which it was.
I am going to need to defer this one to Mike Blade. And he's out today, but let me ask him tomorrow if he's in the office to clarify any difference in meaning between dropped or settled.
Thank you.
Excellent. Mike?
I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Bulger, but I think the word you used in your communication was withdrawn, not dropped.
Thank you. That's correct.
Thank you.
That's, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And the words I used came from our general counsel.
Yeah,
So-
I'm not looking to blame. I'm just looking to understand.
Yes.
They just mean very different things to me. And I just
Sure.
want to be clear on what happened.
Sure, absolutely. I will certainly have him do that. Thank you.
Excellent. Zach?
This will probably get answered, but yeah, if you can just clarify what promises the college made with regards to the health clinic that then resulted in the unfair labor practice being dropped.
Absolutely.
All right. Excellent. In regards to board comments, OCCA board is actually meeting here at the Lane Community College campus on Friday. And so we'll be having presidents and board members from all different community colleges that represent the board of OCCA. I know that we'll be in attendance and so forth. And it's they travel to different community colleges to do that. And yeah, we are covering a lot of different topics. We are in the midst of hiring an executive director. We have developed a game plan as far as timelines of when to be a part of that. We are also adding something which we didn't do in the last recruitment, which is to include business organizations that community colleges work with, unions that are part of different community colleges, student organizations, and so forth, to be a part of a forum so that those potential executive director candidates can be a part of that. This is a statewide search, and I remember going through the first time with Stephanie in discussing the final candidates with the OCCA, and yeah, it was yeah, this is a really exciting time for our organization, and we're also preparing already for the legislative session for 2025, and this is the time period to start having those questions and having those discussions. Additionally, we'll be holding the conference. I know it's in a horrible timing with November 1st through the 3rd, but I just wanted to let you know that those trainings are really helpful and useful as well. All right. Anything else for the good of the order? All right. We are adjourned.